Fellow Toastmasters and guests, I'm here today to tell you about a hobby that I've picked up. I've sort of become addicted to it. I'm not really proud of that, but it's a lot of fun. A lot of you have smartphones, you have tablets, you have Outlook, you have PowerPoint, you have laptops, you have desktops, you have many ways to record your information. I was working with Carrie and I told Carrie, you know what, Carrie, I need a personal information management system. I'm not really sure what to do, but I'm gonna have to work on it. So I thought to myself, should I do an Android app? Should I do a Windows app? Should I do some kind of combination Windows app, Android app? Well, I thought to myself deeply, and I thought, you know what, I have an addiction, and I might as well use that addiction to be my note-taking app. So what I decided to do is I bought little notebooks and I carry around in my pocket. I left it up at my desk today because I was writing in it. And the reason that I decided to do that is because I have taken up a hobby of using fountain pens. These are 3 of the 7 fountain pens that I currently own. For my speech today, I am going to demonstrate to you how to disassemble, reassemble, and refill a fountain pen. Fountain pens, this one in particular, I ordered from eBay, and it was actually a really good price. And I would encourage you that if you are going to use a fountain pen, start out with eBay, and I'll give you a little bit of additional information as we go along. Fountain pens have main items. I've given you a picture of this fountain pen when I took it apart and snapped it and included it. Since it's so small, you may not be able to see it from your seats. Most pens have a cap, and this is the standard cap from a fountain pen. It snaps on and off. The fountain pen also has a body. This particular one is machined metal of some type. I'm not quite sure if it's stainless steel or aluminum. The body unscrews from the tip, and this is the body of the fountain pen. Inside of the fountain pen, we have the ink device. It's a plunger-based device that you turn and the plunger goes up and down in the pen. This device is removable. And if you look at your picture, you can see it's the long thing on the top row all the way to the right. That is the plunger assembly. The tip of the fountain pen is the short item here with the nib and the transport mechanism. If you take and pull, the tip is separate. The feed transport mechanism and the fountain pen nib. These fountain pen nibs used to be made of gold early on, and they were pretty expensive. Now they use iridium or stainless steel for fountain pen nibs. So I have showed you, and you will see on your diagram, a fountain pen that has been completely taken apart. This fountain pen, and I'm just showing you for comparison, does not use the plunger device. It uses just an ink cartridge that you just pop into the fountain pen, and that's what stores the ink on this particular fountain pen. So now I'm going to reassemble the fountain pen. I'm going to take the transport piece and take the nib and place it on top. I am then going to take this entire assembly and plug it into the tip of the fountain pen and make sure that it's well aligned, which it is. I will then take the plunger assembly and snap it back into the tip, and it doesn't take very much force to do any of these. I will screw this back into the body just to show you how it looks. I will unscrew it now, and this is the part that is always iffy when you're starting out with fountain pens. This is a bottle of water-based ink that I am going to put into the plunger. The way that I'm going to do that is I'm going to unscrew it. I will place the tip inside of the ink, and I will slowly turn it. I didn't get very much, but notice there is now ink inside of the plunger. I will screw the body back on. I will reach into my pocket again and bring out tissues so I can dab the extra ink off. Screw the cap back on. Put the click on, and that is how you disassemble, reassemble, put ink into a fountain pen. I have put some other resources on the bottom of the handout that I handed you in case you want to learn more about fountain pens, or you can always ask me. Thank you very much for looking at my demonstration on fountain pens. With that, Madam Toastmaster.
That just looks like an accident waiting to happen in my world.
Well, if I hadn't, the red pen was leaking. It took me about a year before I could do it without getting ink all over my hands.
Oh no. Okay, everyone take the next minute to fill in your evaluations. Okay, go ahead and finish up your comments. I'm going to move on to our second speech today, given by Bill Brown. Bill Brown is a DTMB project manager with his Competent Communicator. The speech he's giving today is from the Entertaining Speaker Manual, and it's resources for entertainment. The goal is to use other people's material appropriately in our meeting. Yes, sort of?
Basically.
Something like that. The title of his speech is European Entertainment, and he said that he does not like to speak on politics, but these things seemed fitting. Please help me welcome Bill Brown.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters and guests. Question for you. Are you familiar with inflation?
Just a little bit.
That's a shock. Was going to be shy. I thought about asking it, is anyone unfamiliar with inflation? I wouldn't get any raised hands. I prefer some reaction. But that is one interesting political event from Europe. And despite the difficulties that are involved with this and other political events, it can be good to look back on these things and take a little time to chuckle. One thing that I found rather humorous was inflationary language. What was called inflationary language. It was invented by Victor Borge. He experienced inflation in Denmark, and so he invented inflationary language. In inflation, numbers rise, prices go up. Anything that has to do with money goes up. except for language. And we have hidden numbers in many of our words like wonderful, before, create, and tenderly. All these numbers can be inflated to meet the economy. Using inflationary language, we just add 1 to each of these numbers in order to be prepared. For instance, wonderful would be tutorful, before would be be5, create, crenine, tenderly would be levenderly. So a sentence like, I ate tenderloin with my fork would be, I nined and levenloin with my fifek, and so on and so forth. I have a story that I would like to read to you so that you can get an idea of inflationary language and how it sounds when it's being used. Twice upon a time, there lived in sunny California a young man named Bob. He was a 3rd lieutenant in the U.S. Air Forces. Bob had been fond of Anna, his 1.5 sister, ever since she saw the light of day for the 2nd time. They were both proud of the fact that 2 of his 5 fathers had been among the creninders of the U.S. Constitution. They were dining on the terrace. Anna, he said as he took a bite of a marinaded herring, you look tutorful 3 night. You never looked that lovely be5. Anna really looked tutorful, despite the fact that she had an illness from which she had not yet recuperated. Yes, repeated Bob, you look tutorful 3 night, but you have 3 of the saddest eyes I have ever seen. The table was tastefully decorated with Anna's favorite flowers, 3 lips. They were now talking about Anna's Ascertain husband, from whom she was separated. While on the radio, an Irish Leavener sang Tea for 3. It was midnight. A clock in the distance struck 13. Suddenly there in the moonlight appeared her husband, Don Two, obviously intoxicated. Anna, he blurted, 5 give me. I am only young twice, and you are my 2 and only. Bob jumped to his feet. Get out of here, you 3-faced triple crosser. And Anna warned, watch out, Bob, he's an officer. Yes, he is 2, but I am 2-3. All right, said Don 2 as he wiped his 5 head. He then left, and when he was 1.5 way through the revolving door, he mumbled, I will go back to 11C and be double again. Farewell, Anna. Threedaloo, threedaloo. Now this is the type of thing that Victor Borges humor, that is, that probably prompted this look from my son. I just can't resist including him in all of my speeches. And there are other types of things that we can look back on with some humor. For instance, a written appraisal surfaced for the first Toastmasters speech that a young man made in Munich in 1921. It revealed a hint of the future leader's skill at public speaking that led to his eventual rise to power. Icebreaker speech. You seemed confident. You are definitely passionate about your topic, perhaps too much at times. Less spitting when demonizing your enemies might be a good idea. Volume was good, if not a bit too loud. We have only 20 people here, not thousands. Hand gestures were good. The one-arm salute was impressive, but became repetitive. I liked your use of imaginary speech, I liked your use of imagery, especially when you ground your fist into your palm. It was the most memorable part of the speech for me. We don't usually see leg gestures. The stiff-legged march seemed odd. Your speech was a bit long. Most Toastmasters icebreaker speeches are 2 to 5 minutes, not 3 hours. Overall, a good first effort. Now, political items such as those related to Adolf Hitler are often tragic. However, it's good to keep an open mind and find humor where you can. I often think of things like some sayings such as a soldier who survived mustard gas and pepper spray is now a seasoned veteran. And when does an astronaut eat? Lunchtime. I know a guy who's addicted to brake fluid. He says he can stop anytime. What does a clock do when it's hungry? It goes back 4 seconds. And of course, broken pencils are pointless. Thank you.
Okay, everyone, take a minute to fill out evaluations.